Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Alyssa. It is the 4th of July today, and since I don't feel like celebrating, let's go through my Shop My Shelves TBR for the month of July. Welcome back to the channel. Again, my name is Alyssa. If you're new here, say hello. If you're not new here, welcome back. We just talk about books and all kinds of bookish stuff over here. I also have a podcast that I run with my friend Naomi. We are on hiatus for the month of July, but we will be coming in with a live at some point to discuss one of the books I'm still currently reading because my life is behind. So I will jump into all of that in a second, but just take a moment, like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and let's jump into my Shop My Shelves for July. Every month I go through my shelves and I pick out books to read for the month. I don't always stick to my TBR. I feel like this month is going to be a very moody reading month because I am a very moody person right now, but for the sake of continuity, I have picked out a bunch of books that I would like to try to get to this month. If I don't get to them, I don't get to them, but this is my very soft TBR. These are like monthly hopefuls, you know, that kind of dealy. So we'll jump right in with a couple books I am currently reading. One is our June pick, which we need to discuss on a live, and that is The Women's House of Detention by Hugh Ryan. If this actually wants to focus ever, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, so this book is fantastic. It's about this women's prison that was in downtown New York in Greenwich Village for a very long time, and the history of that prison, the history of women in prison, the history of like queer people in prison. So the reason I'm not done yet is because it's very infuriating to read. So I've read this much, but like look at the flags, the amount of notes. It's a lot. So yes, I'm still reading this, loving this. I can't wait to discuss it, but I have to take it in chunks because it makes me angry. And I'm sorry for all the problems with focusing. I think it's because of where I have light today. I'm trying to figure out lighting without moving everything around and taking out my giant ring light. I need to get a smaller ring light that sort of attaches to the back of my desk. Oh my God, a hawk just went flying down past the window. That was crazy. Anyway, I'm also in the middle of reading The Ballad of Perilous Graves. I'm not very far along into this, but I really wanted to get to this last month. So I squeezed it in right at the end of the month, and I just really haven't gotten back to it because it's taking a little bit of extra time for me to get into the story. I have a feeling I'm going to love it once I'm into the story and like I'm getting the plot. But like I'm so early on in this, I have zero things to say about it. It's very early on. I'm going to get there. I'm going to love it. I have a feeling. I hope I love it. But so that's two I'm working on, and the third that I'm about to finish today, and I stopped so that I could film this, is The Book of Night by Holly Black. I've heard a lot of like mixed things about this. I feel like a lot of people were just kind of like, it's fine. There were a lot of people who really liked this. I mean, cut to Jess Owens just being like, that book is because it's trash. I am enjoying it. Do I think it's like the best book in the world? No, but I'm enjoying it, and that's all I really want from it, is that it's something that I enjoy. So that's where we are with that. Let's see if I can make this light a little better. Is that better? Maybe that's better. We'll find out. I also finished two books already. So I finished Vox, which is this sort of thriller, like feminist thriller, I'll call it. And it's a little old now, so everybody probably knows this. And this is a very strange time. Like, it makes sense that I'm picking it up finally off my shelves now, but it's also like kind of hard to read now. But this is a reimagining of America where women have lost their voice. Creepy and hitting way too close to home now, but like women are allotted like 100 words a day to speak, and our main character is this like neurolinguist who does work with like Wernicke's area and like Wernicke's whatever. So basically she deals with aphasia, and she was doing a lot of work to reverse aphasia, and then this whole thing happened, this like purity thing occurred, and women were basically forced back into the 1950s. If any of this is sounding terrifying and way too close to home. But anyway, the government ends up tapping her because they need her expertise to finish whatever dubious thing they're trying to do that they lie to her and say is to correct this kind of aphasia that happens to the president's brother. It's a thriller. It's sad and upsetting, and it's not like the best book. I feel like this is the kind of book or I've seen really mixed reviews on, And I get why it's got kind of mixed reviews, because it starts off so strong and you want it to like really pack a punch. And the ending is fine. And that's really all I can say about it, is like it's fine. And like it could be better. I feel like if you were writing this today with all the rage that we have currently, or the year of our Lord 2022, you could really punch it home to, you know, the patriarchy here. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I finally read it. Not mad at it. In a similar sort of vein, I finally read Controlling Women, What We Must Do Now to Save Reproductive Freedom. I know in my last vlog, I took a week off from vlogging. I know in my last vlog that is being posted before this, I did mention that I was going to read this book, and if anybody wants to read it with me, please still, if you're, especially if you're on like Storygraph, if you want to do a buddy read of this, let me know in the comments what your graph handle is, and I can find you and make a buddy read for this. And as you're going, you guys can put your thoughts in, and I'll be able to see everything because I've already read it, and we can talk about it if you want to do that. But this was a really, really informative book. I'm mad I didn't read it sooner, but I've read it. Anyway, so that's everything I'm working on or I've already read. And then I just have a couple books here. There's really not like a big TBR this month because, like I said, I feel like I'm going to do a lot of mood reading. So I'll start with the book that we are reading for TBR Lowdown this month in July, and that is The Night of the Living Res. I'll put the picture on the screen, but let me pull up the summary for this, because this is a collection of short stories by Morgan Talty. So, set in a native community in Maine, Night of the Living Res is a riveting debut collection about what it means to be Penobscot in the 21st century, and what it means to live, to survive, and to persevere after tragedy. In 12 striking, luminescent stories, author Morgan Talty, with searing humor, abiding compassion, and deep insight, breathes life into tales of family and community as they struggle with a painful past and an uncertain future. A boy unearths a jar that holds an old curse, which sets into motion his family's unraveling. A man, while trying to swindle some pot from a dealer, discovers a friend passed out in the woods, his hair frozen into the snow. A grandmother suffering from Alzheimer's projects the past onto her grandson, and two friends inspired by Antiques Roadshow attempt to rob the tribal museum for valuable root clubs. A collection that examines the consequences and merits of inheritance. The Night of the Living Res is an unforgettable portrayal of an indigenous community and marks the arrival of a standout talent in contemporary fiction. It sounded really good. I would like to hear more people talking about it, and I'm really kind of enjoying some short story collections right now. Like in general, it's something that I feel like I'm reading more of this year. And by more of, I mean like I read like none, and now I'm reading more. So join us for that. We really need to get better at our Discord. But again, like if you're on Storygraph and you want to read it in Storygraph as like a buddy read, let me know. We'll put it on there. We will do a live in August talking about this. So stay tuned. I don't know if it's out yet. If it's not out yet, it'll be out like the first full week of July, I believe. I finally want to get to The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. I've had this book for a while. I thrifted it in the first time I ever went to McKay's with Naomi. I thrifted this, and I absolutely was psyched to get this. So if you knew the date of your death, how would you live your life? In 1969 in New York City's Lower East Side, word has spread of the arrival of a mystical woman, a traveling psychic who claims to be able to tell anyone the day they will die. The Gold Child, four adolescents on the cusp of self-awareness, seek out to hear their fortunes. The prophecies inform their next 5 decades. Golden boy Simon escapes to the West Coast, searching for love in the 80s San Francisco. Dreamy Clara becomes a Las Vegas magician, obsessed with blurring reality and fantasy. Eldest son Daniel struggles to maintain security as an army doctor post 9/11, and bookish Varia throws herself into longevity research, where she tests the boundaries between science and immortality. Both a dazzling family love story and a sweeping novel of remarkable ambition and depth, The Immortalist probes the line between destiny and choice, reality and illusion, this world and the next. It is a deeply moving testament to the power of story, the nature of belief, and the unrelenting pull of familial bonds. totally wanted to read this. Sounds really good. I realized I forgot to put a book on this list, so let's grab it. I totally forgot to put this in this pile. I meant to grab it before we started, and that is A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. And this comes out in July. This is from Tor. Thank you, Tor, for sending this to me. This sounds really great. I started reading it the other day on my Kindle, and because I don't want to screw up this copy so I can take a picture of it. And this is Vaseline Vinaro. Never planned to marry at all, let alone a girl from neighboring Tahina. Tathena. It's a fantasy world. I have no idea how to say any of these. And when an ugly confrontation reveals his preference for men, Vel fears he's ruined the diplomatic union before it can even begin. But while his family is ready to disown him, the Tithian envoy has a different solution: for Vel to marry his former intended's brother instead. Kathari Adura. I can't say anybody. Why fantasy writers? Why do we have to make it so hard to say people's names? Always knew he might end up in a political marriage, but his sudden betrothal to a man from Ralia, where such relationships are forbidden, comes as a shock. With an unknown faction willing to kill to end their new alliance, Vel and Kay have no choice but to trust each other. Survival is one thing, but love, as both will learn, is quite another. Byzantine politics, lush sexual energy, and a queer love story that is by turns sweet and sultry. A Strange and Stubborn Endurance is an exploration of gender identity, self-worth. It is a book that will live in your hearts long after you turn the last page. Honestly, this gives me like, I keep wanting to say Ocean's 11. This is giving me Winter's Orbit, sort of mixed with a little Marvelous Light vibes, like, and just stick it in a Byzantine setting. But anyway, I'm really excited to read that. I want to start The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I feel like everybody knows what The Daughter of Smoke and Bone is about, but we're going to look it up. Meet Karu. She fills her sketchbooks with monsters that may or may not be real. She's prone to disappearing on mysterious errands. She speaks many languages, not all of them human, and her bright blue hair actually grows out of her head that color. Who is she? That is the question that haunts her, and she's about to find out when one of the strangers, beautiful, haunted Akiva, fixes his fire-colored eyes on her in an alley in Marrakesh. The result is blood and starlight, secrets unveiled, and a star-crossed love whose roots drink deep of violent past. But will Karu live to regret learning the truth about herself? Around the world, black handprints are appearing on doorways, scorched there by winged strangers who have crept through a slit in the sky. And in the tangled lanes of Prague, a young artist student is about to be caught up in a brutal, otherworldly war. In a dark and dusty shop, a devil's supply of human teeth grown dangerously low. I love Laini Taylor. I love Strange the Dreamer. I feel like I've heard that people say that this is an even better series and it's like more beautifully written. So I'm excited to finally get into it. And it's only 3 books, and I really think that I can finish it before the year is out. This is reminding me I have to do another book. Hold on, let me grab it. Talking about books I have to finish before the year is out. We are doing on TBR Lowdown like sort of year-long reading of Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I am this far into Anna Karenina already as it is, so I do need to keep going. That's like 300 and something pages, which means I have probably another 500 to go. But yeah, so if you want to join us for that, you can check out, I think there's a Discord link for it. If you want to join a buddy read for it on Storygraph, I'll make one. But yeah, this is, I have to get back to this month. That's kind of on the back burner. I don't have to finish it, but I do have to make sure that I am reading it this month. Anyway, back to the list. This is what's happening. This is chaotic. This is my life right now. It's like I try to organize myself, but then I'm also just like not organized at all. So I have to like, I'm everywhere, okay? I am chaos.
I am more chaos.
This year I'm just chaos. Okay. I want to read Lincoln and the Bardo by George Saunders because this is supposed to be really strange, but like great. So I'm excited to finally figure out what this is all about, because I know that people are like, you either love this or you're like, what the fuck is this book? So I want to know which side I fall on. February 1862, with the Civil War less than 1 year old, President Lincoln's beloved 11-year-old son, Willie, lies gravely ill. In a matter of days, Willie dies, is laid to rest in a Georgetown cemetery. Newspapers report that a grief-stricken Lincoln returns alone to the crypt several times to hold the boy's body. From that seed of historical truth, George Saunders spins an unforgettable story that breaks free of its realistic framework into a thrilling supernatural realm, deploying a kaleidoscope, theatrical paranormal of voices, living and dead, historical and invented, to ask a timeless question: how do we live and love when we know that everything we love must end? Like, it sounds so good. Like, and on the same note, I have Lily King's Lovers, Writers and Lovers, Writers and Lovers, Lovers and Writers. Lily King. I've never read Lily King, and she's definitely like in that group of sort of sad girl lit writers like Sally Rooney and Tessa Moshfegh that like kind of get grouped together. And it's like, if you like this, you'll probably like something by this author. So I've had this on my shelf for a while, and I do really want to read it. So we're going to finally get to that this month, I hope. So this says, blindsided by her mother's sudden death and wrecked by a recent love affair, Casey Peabody has arrived in Cambridge, Massachusetts in the summer of 1997 without a plan. Her mail consists of wedding invitations and final notices from debt collectors. A former child golf prodigy, she now waits tables in Harvard Square and rents a tiny, moldy room at the side of a garage where she works on the novel she's been writing for 6 years. At 31, Casey is still clutching onto something nearly all her old friends have let go of: the determination to live a creative life. When she falls for two very different men at the same time, her world fractures even more. Casey's fight to fulfill her ambitions and balance the conflicting demands of art and life is challenged in ways that push her to the brink. Writers and Lovers follows Casey in the last days of a long youth, a time when every element of her life comes to a crisis. Written with King's trademark humor, heart, and intelligence, Writers and Lovers is a transfixing novel that explores the artistic passion, ambition, and the terrifying and exhilarating leap between the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another. I want to know what that buzz is all about, so we're going to do that. Today, when I'm done with the book of night, I'm going to finally start Ben Hopkins' Cathedral, which we've already talked about. I've had this out from the library for a while. We love a good crinkle. I'm going to finally get to this so that I can get this back to the library, because they keep renewing it, but I really do need to bring this beast back. So I will start this today, so hopefully I can get it back to the library this month. Not that it seems like anybody's really running out to try to get that. I think I've already summarized that book in another video somewhere, so I'm not going to bother doing that. And then for fun, I have volume 2 of Fangirl, and if you know me, you know that I love Fangirl. It's like the only Rainbow Row I like, and I have so many copies of this book, and I love that they're coming out with the manga, and I have the manga. Volume 2 just came out, so I have to pick up and read the manga as well. Jumping back into that story with my good friend Cather. Yeah, so I'm really excited to read this just on like a day where I just need to like have a relaxing read. So yeah, so that is everything that's sort of on my list for July. I want to shut up now and get back to the book of night so I can start some other books. And I would love to know what you guys are trying to read this month. I would love to know if you guys have read any of these, and if you want to do any buddy reads on any of these, that would be great. I'm still reading the Mindfucked series, which I'm going to get back to this month because I have been very distracted. I will admit that I have not been reading the way I normally do. I feel like when I do my wrap-up, you'll see I haven't been reading as much as I normally do in a month. I've been very sidetracked with life, I feel like. And I don't know if anybody else is feeling that way, and if they're sort of in this like weird stall period in the summer. I don't know. I feel like June was a really rough month from beginning to end. So I don't know. But we're going to be gentle with ourselves, and we're going to sort of get back into things. I haven't been working out for the last week. I haven't been doing anything I normally do, so I do need to get my butt sort of back into gear and get back into the patterns that make me happy and give me some sanity. So yeah. But anyway, I hope you are all doing well. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy following along with my bookish life. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video, whatever it may be, because it's my channel and I can do whatever I want. Ciao.
So just sit with me, talking to the night until the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I